Hey, Buff Nation, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson here. Coming up this week at Buffalo Stampede, your Colorado football team is 3-0, undefeated in non-conference play. As a knockoff, CSU and the Rocky Mountain Showdown in double overtime, 43-35. We're going to recap the game with Coach Gary Barnett and Andy Lindahl. We're going to hear from Coach Prime. We're going to hear from Shedeur Sanders, Mikey Harrison, and Trevor Woods. Big show, and you're going to see it this week on the Buffalo Stampede. Drops in the end zone, flushed out to his right, running, throws it across his body, and Mikey Harrison makes a grab, the tight end. He steps over the pocket, looks, throws it out on the near side, grab is made, stop and go to the 25, to the 30, and then out of bounds on the near side goes Dawson. Shotgun snap, taken by Shedeur, drops, he throws upfield, catches made at the 45, eluding a defender, goes Xavier Weaver. Shedeur steps over the pocket, flushed to the near side, rifles it downfield, Jimmy Horn Jr. at the 14, eludes a man to the end zone! Touchdown! Touchdown, Colorado! A 98-yard drive. 2:06 remaining in the ball game. Punt out of bounds to the 2, and the Buffaloes take over, and Shedeur Sanders was masterful in that drive to tie the game at 28. Buffs win it in double overtime to improve to 3-0. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Buffalo Stampede. Coach Gary Barnett, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Well, you've coached a lot of offensive football. 98-yard drive, that circumstance, that is legendary kind of stuff.
That's
right
legendary. And, you know, especially we hadn't played well enough to any of us to think that we were going to be able to go 98 yards because we hadn't been able to run the football. We struggled. But I'm telling you, that was a drive for the ages because Shedeur Sanders was just spot on. He made every throw. He scrambled. He did everything that you'd want in a quarterback. It was masterful. And then the touchdown to Jimmy Horn was a great play, and it was. No one saw that one coming. I don't think.
You know, Gary, sometimes in this game you have beautiful games. I mean, you think about the first contest, 510 yards passing against TCU, 45 points. Sometimes they're not attractive. Sometimes all victories are beautiful, as we well know. But sometimes you got to grind it out. That's what this game was about, wasn't it?
It was, and it's funny if you're on the other side and you ground it out as hard as CSU did, and as well as CSU did, and then you don't get the win. That one's tough. Yeah. And our side of it, we struggled on a lot of different fronts, but they found a way to win. And like I said, Shedeur just was unbelievable, as was Mikey Harrison.
Well, I was going to say, on this team, you look at some of the skill guys. You got Travis Hunter, who went out with an injury, by the way. You've got Xavier Weaver. You got Dylan Edwards. You got Jimmy Horn Jr. Mikey Harrison's a guy, before the season, I don't think anybody thought about it. He was a walk-on wide receiver. They transitioned to tight end. He's become a wonderful weapon for them.
Well, he is, and he's a perfect fit because he gets matched up with linebackers all the time because he's at the tight end position or the inside receiver. And so it's a great match for us. And he's a receiver by trade. He knows what to do, and he's not a tight end. And so he's a great pass catcher for us.
And he had a couple of touchdowns in overtime. Buffs ended up winning it 45-33. Buffs improved to 3-0 as they win the Rocky Mountain Showdown. Afterward, we heard from the quarterback who was masterful in this game. Presented by Coors Light. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment made to chill. Celebrate responsibly.
Well, we do it in practice all the time, so it's not really a shocking or a surprise to it. It's just like, okay, we like those high pressure moments. Like that's what we live in, and I wish the whole game was just straight that. Honestly, that's when I say we excel. But really, like in my own mind, I was thinking Brady mode. Like he does it all the time. I gotta be able to do it. So it's just like I already knew what was required. I already been there before. So it's like I'm not gonna be able to live with myself honestly, like on a loss like that. Like so I just didn't want to go through that. We gotta give a round of applause for the pick six, man. Clutch brothers. For the pick six, man. He tried to do Dad's dance, but you thought he was gonna get caught.
I know. I was gonna extend that pick. I was just gonna go to the side like Madden, but I was like, this guy's mad and he's.
Hey, them ticket prices was worth it today, so.
Nah, but when Travis went down, like it made me feel some type of way, honestly, because like you took like one of my brothers, on the offensive side, so it really hurt me a lot, knowing the work he put in and everything just leading up to the game, and knowing like you could always count on him in those moments. So now we have Mikey step up today, because I'm proud of him for just getting in the windows and understanding. So his number was called and he was ready to execute.
There's the quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, after the Buffaloes get the win of the Rocky Mountain Showdown in double overtime, knock off the Rams. We continue with Coach Gary Barnett. All right, flip to the defensive side in this one. Rams had a pretty good offensive game plan against Colorado.
They really did, and we heard Shedeur talk about, Trevor Woods talk about how they were trying to rally up on those crossing routes that were coming up underneath and make the tackles. Well, we rallied up, but we didn't make tackles, and so they made big play after big play on just the crossing routes. And it was hard to stop. And that combination of that and the running game made them a hard out for us. We could not get off the field. I mean, they had 87 plays, Mark. We had 72.
Yeah.
It usually goes the other way. But they had the ball almost 10 minutes more than we did. And so that made that game really complicated, that we could not come up with a stop. But we hung in there. We ended up with 3 interceptions. All of them at key times, one of them for a touchdown, one of them to save the game at the end. So, we made plays we had to, and that's a sign of a team that's playing together.
Yeah, guys making big plays. Shedeur Sanders had an 80-yard touchdown interception as well. Juwan Mitchell's turning out to be a heck of a player at the linebacker position for Colorado.
He's a great tackler, and he's sudden, and he gets there fast, and he's only been in the system for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe, so he's going to get better as we go on. And I think he's probably a good blitzer. I'm eager to watch what they do with him in that category.
Yeah, pretty impressive defensive ability there. Okay, the Buffaloes are 3-0. They've had to really gut check 2 of these wins. So that says something about kind of the heart of this team, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Yeah.
And, nobody gave these guys a chance to start the season to be 3-0. Nobody. And you know what? Here we are. We're 3-0. So I don't think you count this team out from anything, but they're going to find out what they're made of in the next 2 weeks.
Yep. Open up Pac-12 conference play next Saturday. We're going to be in Eugene, Oregon. That's a 1:30 Mountain Time game as the Buffs will take on the Ducks. That'll be a big one. That's the coach, Gary Barnett. Coming up next, we're going to talk to our sideline reporter, Andy Lindahl. Motion man to the backfield. Shedeur takes a snap, drops to throw, scans, throws over the middle. Mikey Harrison, Graham with the 5, end zone, touchdown. To his right is Dylan Evers, drops. Here comes pressure, throws it back to the end zone, and it's caught. A 2-point conversion. Xavier Weaver takes the snap, scans, steps up, looking to throw, rifles it to the end zone, and it's picked off by Trevor Woods, and the Buffs win in double overtime. What a Rocky Mountain showdown! Well, there's the scoring in the second overtime. Mikey Harrison with a touchdown, Xavier Weaver with a 2-point conversion, and then Trevor Woods with the interception that sealed it back in the Buffalo Stampede. Buffs win over the Rams. Rocky Mountain showdown, double overtime. Andy Lindahl, our silent reporter, voice of the Buffs. Mark Johnson. That was something, wasn't it?
Yeah. Wasn't a game I necessarily expected, that's for sure, because
it's a rivalry game.
It is a rivalry game. You know what? I was feeling good about things. You pulled an Alan Roach on me. I can remember prior to the Seattle Super Bowl, I'm sitting in a press box, and Alan Roach looked at the Seattle defense's numbers, and he goes, these are equal with Baltimore. We could be in trouble. And I don't do that to me. Then you came out with, what did you say, the last 6 times? Whoever was ranked in the showdown did not win. Yeah. And I'm like, Mark, why you got to drop a number like that? I felt good about it. Everything I saw throughout the week. Listen, you and I talked about it last week. It is a rivalry. It meant a lot to those kids. They came out with a big attitude. They wanted to prove things to the whole world. They were ignored by the entire media world. And they came out and took out their frustrations on the Buffs tonight. So that played into it a lot. But listen, the CSU quarterback is legitimately good.
Yeah,
I told you.
He's good.
I was tweeting highlights, and I got some CSU fans going, oh, you've been exposed. Oh, you're not that good. And I want to write back and just say, why? You tell me your team stinks? Did you not see the third down throw to the tight end where there was coverage draped CU's linebacker could not have covered him any better, and the throw was just right in there. Coach Gary Barnett raved about it time after time, how he made the right reads, and now we see how CU adjusts.
Yeah, the 2 quarterbacks were outstanding. Shedeur Sanders was a monster in this ball game. We're going to talk more about the defense, but right now, let's see a post-game conversation we had with Trevor Woods. Take us to your interception at end of this ball game. So it's double overtime. You guys have got the lead. You know that you've got to get a stop. You know, certainly it would be nice to keep them out of the end zone, which you ultimately did. Take us through that play.
Yeah, I was telling the guys actually before. I was like, all right, guys, I'm gonna get a game win. I was like, I'm gonna get the game winning pick right here, and I'm gonna punt it into the stands. That's exactly what I did. But yeah, no, I mean, I really probably could have just batted it down, but who wants that though? So.
You got to come away with the interception situation. I mean, that's a great highlight, right?
Got to get the highlight, got to get the stat,
Hey, end of regulation. Okay, it's 28-20. CSU gets a great punt, goes out of bounds at the 2. 98-yard field. You're on the defense. You're standing at the sideline. Number 2 runs out there. What are you thinking at that point in time?
I always have confidence in 2. He, despite having as a team having a rough game, I always had confidence in him. He's one of the best players in the country. So.
I'll tell you what, though, the Buffs now 3-0. Here you sit, undefeated, non-conference slate is over. 2 of these games have been awful tough, right? I mean, the TCU game a couple of weeks ago, back and forth. This one here, back and forth. Well, what do games like this say about kind of the heart and intestinal fortitude of this team?
Coach talks about it at halftime and just throughout the game, we got a lot of guys who've faced personal adversity. We just got to see how we are as a team through adversity, and so far we've faced it pretty well.
There's Trevor Woods. By the way, the punt after the interception was not a good punt. He punted that one about 12 yards. That's why he's a defensive back and not a punter. We continue with Andy Lindahl. Hey, that defensive side of the ball, though. They struggled all night with the game plan that the Rams had, but boy, they made plays when they had to. Very timely tonight.
They were very timely. It was a little like the TCU game, was it not? I mean, they didn't make all the plays, but they made the plays that they needed to in order to get the win. Now you've got something else that you've been shown. We've got to remember, and you remind them during the game all the time, we've got a lot of new players playing together for the first time in a scheme for the first time. So now another little flaw maybe has been shown to them. Now they get a chance to try to correct it, because we know with the speed Oregon has, they're probably going to see a healthy dose of that.
Yeah.
But again, it all comes back to Shedeur, doesn't it?
It really does.
We talk about plays that need to be made. Shedeur Sanders on the 2-yard line doing his own little mini. The stakes weren't the same, but he got his own little mini John Elway moment and took him 98 yards. And then, they complete the 2-point conversion. Shedeur was just great. And he used his legs. And maybe that unlocks a little cheat code for the Buffs to get a run game going moving forward.
Yeah. By the way, Shedeur had about 40 yards rushing in this ballgame. You and I, over the years, covering college, covering NFL, you see a lot of great quarterbacks in both levels. This guy is right in there with all the great ones we've kind of watched. I mean, he really is special.
Yeah, just nothing phases him. Look, nothing was going right all night for them. The protection was struggling. The blitzes were getting to him. He'd been hit a few times. His guys weren't running wide open. CSU did a really good job defensively, too. And Shedeur comes out there, doesn't blink. His guys believed. He got it done. The jump pass to get the 2-point conversion in the second overtime that went to Xavier Weaver was awesome. Weaver, I told you, just back in the end zone, just plunked it with both hands. Really, really fun game. And now we see what this leads to next. Look, they're halfway to bowl eligibility.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the first job, right, is get bowl eligible.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Buffalo's 3-0. They wrap up the non-conference slate undefeated. Now get ready for the Oregon Ducks coming up next week and next week at Addison Stadium. That's Sound reporter Andy Lindahl. We're going to take a quick time out here to Buffalo Stampede. More post-game as we continue to talk with players in a moment.
Left-footed service from Rosen. It's good to the back post, headed down and in. The set piece continues to be the engine for the Colorado offense, and of course, it is James.
It's not just a football team that continues to win. Back in the Buffalo Stampede, how about Danny Sanchez and that soccer team getting a 3-1 win at DU, 8-1 on the season, ranked in the top 25. And now they get set to open up Pac-12 conference play. UCLA Bruins coming to town front of field on Friday. Back in the Buffalo Stampede, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Colorado in double overtime, knocking off Colorado State in the Rocky Mountain Showdown. Let's hear from the head coach, Coach Prime. The Buffaloes 3-0 after the ballgame. Powered by Ford. Cars, trucks, and SUVs built for America. Built Ford proud.
Great game. Played like garbage in the first half. Tried to get it right in the second half. We showed that we were resilient. We showed that we would fight. We showed that we had no surrender or give up in us. And that's a lot for a team that's fairly new. As you say, we just got together. So I'm truly proud of our men as well as our coaches and staff, sports staff, and so forth. Not happy with the way we played, but I'm happy with the win. You got to be happy with a W no matter how it comes. Truthfully, it's one point in the game I said, we can't let this dude win. There ain't no way we let this dude win. You know, his press conference is gonna be unbearable if we let this dude win. And but I knew even when we got the ball on the 2 or 3, 4 yard line, I said, as long as the ball in Shedor's hands, we gonna get down this field. I knew that without a shadow of a doubt. And when we went to center the field to talk about overtime, I told him we want the ball. I want you to have the ball. Most teams put the defense out first so you can see kind of what they do. If you don't get, you get 3, you know what you have to do. I want the offense out first. I want you to put pressure on them to get them out of their comfort zone. It was a great day for Colorado. It was a great day for the Buffalo fans. It's a great day that we got to win. I'm coach, but every now and then during the game, I have a dad moment. And that was a dad moment, just running down the sideline. As he was running down the sideline, that's the most I ran in years. Yeah, I didn't even know I had it in me. But just to see his joy and see him just atone for some of the things, because he studies so much, and he's like, I'm going to stop playing passive. I'm going to jump it. I'm going to jump it. And he did it. So that was the moment of what he put into his work ethic and film study and just being aggressive. And he's capable of that. I don't know how many tackles he made, but he had a heck of a lot of tackles, that what I saw throughout the game as well. He made plays. That's what counts.
The Buffaloes head coach, 3-0 to start his Colorado career. Coach Prime, after the Buffs knock off the CSU Rams in a Rocky Mountain showdown. Colorado's won 6 in a row now over the Rams and sits 3-0, undefeated non-conference play. Next up, there's a game to open up Pac-12 conference play on Saturday, 1:30 up at Autzen Stadium. The Buffs will take on the Ducks. Coming up next, we've been talking about Mikey Harrison. Let's hear from the former walk-on. He was huge for the Buffaloes in a win over CSU. He comes your way next. You know who also keeps winning? The volleyball team. What a back and forth they had to bring home the Golden Spike once again. They lose 3-2 on a reverse sweep to the Rams in Boulder. Then return the favor on Friday night. A reverse sweep, 3-2 win over the Rams. Like I said, the Golden Spike still at home. So a nice victory by the volleyball team, and now wrap up non-conference play, getting into Pac-12 conference play, opening up league play on Thursday, hosting Utah at the CU Event Center. Back at the Stampede, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, double overtime win in football in the Rocky Mountain Showdown for the Colorado Buffaloes. Coach Prime and company are 3-0. A guy that was a huge part of this game, had 2 touchdowns in double overtime. One of the first overtime, one of the second. Former walk-on receiver who's now a tight end, Mikey Harrison. We talked to him after the game. Motion man through the backfield. Shedeur takes a snap, drops to throw, scans, throws over the middle. Mikey Harrison, grab with the 5, end zone, touchdown, touchdown, Colorado. And he was a big part of this one. In fact, Michael ends up with 7 targets, 7 catches, 76 yards, a couple of touchdowns. That was one whale of a ball game out there. Was that fun?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm just glad we got the dub. We don't lose at home, so trying to keep that all season. So,
Mike, a big plays for you down the stretch in this ball game. Yeah. I mean, and you know, in this contest early on, it was kind of tough sledding out there. Why did you guys find some traction in the second half?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. I mean, we switched up personnel a couple times and started to find a rhythm going into the second half. We got the ball back. So, I mean, I feel like this kind of happened against Nebraska, and at the end of the day, the whole offense just trusts Coach Lewis, and we know we're going to get everything sorted out at the end of the day. So we just stick to the plan. And Coach Prime told us at halftime, you know, this is where you find some resilience in yourself, and like you're not going to just let a team come in here and walk all over you, especially a rival game like CSU. So I guess we just all had we're not going to lose this game mentality, even if things weren't going as smoothly as we wanted them to. So we just stayed the course and got the win.
You know, I was talking to Xavier Weaver in a pregame show today, and I asked him about, you know, being a receiver out there when you've got a guy like Shedeur Sanders. And he said, you better be ready, because when he moves, you got to find open spot because he'll get you the ball.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think quite a few of those catches were scramble drills. So I mean, you said it. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to be ready for the ball all the time. I mean, you might not be the first, second, or third read, but if you're open, he's going to find you. And he does a great job of finding the open guy, if it's off the rip or it's off the scramble drill. So shout out to two.
You know, late in this contest in regulations, you're down 28-20, right? Rams have a heck of a punt, goes out of bounds. You got a 98-yard field to deal with. Take us to the sideline of what the conversation was before walking out there.
I don't even remember. I was yelling at the whole offense. Everyone was yelling at each other like, we're gonna get this ball and go down and score regardless. And there's no option right now. There was a fourth quarter or something like that. So at that point in the game, it's everybody has to just double down. And this is a drive that has to end in a touchdown. So that was the mentality.
That touchdown for you in overtime number 1. Do you recall that play? Can you take us through it?
It was. That like what I just said. That was a scramble drill. Just came back to the ball, and two gave me a good ball to make a play on. So shout out to two again.
You know, here you come on to this program as a walk-on. You're a wide receiver. They talk to you about moving to tight end, and you're probably thinking to yourself, I don't know, what does that mean? What's it going to look like for me? I mean, it's really been kind of a wild ride for you in this program, hasn't it?
Nah, definitely. But I just remember early June going into July, Coach Brew and Coach Lou talking to me about tight end, and they think it'd be a good fit for me. And like what I said, just trusting them and trusting the staff. We got a great staff here, so just trusting what they have. Even obviously at the first glance of that, it didn't sound like the most appealing after you played receiver your whole life. So just trusted it and embraced it. And I got great teammates. Caleb and Eli do a great job of getting me. I said this early on. They did a great job of getting me adjusted to the run game and all that stuff. And Coach Brew and Coach Zim done a great job of just getting me up to speed with everything. So I'm just really appreciative of everyone on this team, the coaching staff. So
lastly, here you sit now. You wrap up non-conference play. You're 3-0, right? Gut check win, back and forth game down at TCU. Last week, you guys struggled early, but end up rolling over Nebraska 36-14, and now this one here. Well, what does this say about kind of the heart and the intestinal fortitude of this team, the way it's played?
It's a gritty team. We got guys from all over the place that came here to find a home on a winning team, and that's what we're going to do. So, everyone on this team wants to win. A lot of guys some guys have come from losing programs, winning programs. I was here last year. We weren't doing too good. So, everyone stayed the course and just wants to win. So.
Mikey Harrison, a great story for Colorado. Big part of this one. Buffs win 43-35, improving to 3-0, undefeated in non-conference play as they take care of the Rams in the Rocky Mountain Showdown. Now Colorado opens up Pac-12 conference play. On Saturday, we're going to be at Outson Stadium in Eugene, Oregon. That's a 1:30 kickoff. Gary Barnett, Bobby Passavino, and I are going to hit the air at 11:30 Mountain Time with a Buffalo Stampede pregame show. Going to be wild as we get in the league play. That'll wrap up this week. The Buffalo Stampede. I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.